all the persons that have joined on this Monday. Good afternoon from Bogota. Today, Bogota, it's rainy. That's quite normal. It's a bank holiday in Bogota today. That's also quite normal here. We have around 15 free Mondays a year, so that's also quite normal. But of course, you might have read a bit about the news in Colombia these days. There's been social protests. It's been turbulent. Hopefully, it will calm down in the next days. In the meanwhile, fortunately, also things go on. But you might have read about the situation here. It's a difficult situation, of course. Colombia is a growing country, but of course, still with social differences. So this kind of discussions are part of also of a democratic process. But you might have heard about that. Thank you very much again for joining this webinar. I think it's a great opportunity. Actually, when you look at the screen, there's speaker Jan-Willem van Bokhoven. I will not be that much of a speaker today. Of course, I'm delighted to be here with you and to give a short introduction to what we are going to do today. Holland House is the Chamber of Commerce that promotes trade and investment between the Kingdom and Colombia. We are very active supporting a lot of companies from Curaçao that also want to become active here. We have been doing that for a long time. I have done quite a lot of presentations together with the Chamber of Commerce, together with Stephen, Eliani, Billy, and those have always been, I think, very well attended. But what we are going to do today is go a step further. I can tell you there are opportunities, and also for small companies from Curaçao, you could benefit from these opportunities. But I think it's much better if you hear it from other companies, from other entrepreneurs that already took the step. They are going to tell you the steps they took, the learnings they have, the pitfalls that you should try to avoid, and maybe also the recommendations to become successful. So that's the objective for today. So it's not going to be a presentation about macroeconomics in Colombia. We have done that. Today we want to focus much more on how to make you successful as a Curaçao-based company in Colombia. And I think something very important that I cannot repeat enough, I think if you look at, I know this week is the export week in Curaçao. If you look at the opportunities for Curaçao to become active in other markets, I think Colombia is one of the most natural markets and also one of the most attractive markets. A big market, a market very nearby, a market where you, looking at culture and at language, it's much easier for you than for many companies from other sides of the world. So I believe that Colombia is a natural market and also a very attractive market for many companies from Curaçao. So that's the reason for today to have a bit more the practical experience. Today, we have two groups joining this webinar. The first group would be the group that already decided to join the digital mission. We are going to have the first Curaçao digital mission to Colombia on June 2 and June 3. So in a little bit less than a month, the first digital mission from Curaçao to Colombia. We have at this moment 9 companies that have decided to join, that are ready to explore their opportunities in Colombia. We have had talks with them, we have had strategic sessions with them, and I very much believe in their potential in Colombia. So those 9 companies, they have joined today to learn from other companies that already took the step or are a bit further in their process of entering the Colombian market. So those 9 companies are going to participate in the digital mission. What is a digital mission? I think that's a very important question. It's not another webinar. Webinars are very useful, but the digital mission we're going to have in June has another objective, and that's the objective that you would normally have when you take a plane from Curaçao to Bogota or to Medellin, and you want to establish business here, you want to find clients, you want to find partners. We are going to do that exactly within the digital mission, but you will not have to travel. So we're going to connect you with clients, with possible partners, with possible suppliers, all in a digital way. So the companies that will participate on June 2 and 3, they will have a completely personalized, customized agenda in which they are going to meet counterparts in Colombia that they have prioritized. So that's what we are going to do. So it's not another webinar. It's really an activity of 2 days aimed completely at bringing and connecting the participants from Curaçao with potential clients in Colombia. So very directed to business. And of course, with a lot of advantages. If you look at the cost you would normally have to explore a market like the Colombian one, it would be many travels. There would not be that much openness to meetings in a digital way. All of that has changed. So if you look at the potential for Curaçao to export more, I think to do it in a digital way, being a small island with many small companies that cannot travel everywhere, that's normal. But you now have the opportunity that you, through a digital mission, you can actually connect with potential clients without the need to travel. So precisely that's what we are going to make possible in June. And like I mentioned, we have 9 great companies that have decided to join, which I think is a great number. But if there would be 1, 2, 3, 4 more companies that want to join, it's still possible. Of course, we will do everything to give you the right agenda to connect you with potential partners, clients here. But already with the 9 companies that have joined, I think we have great potential. We have a great group. All the information, I will share you a link in the chat in a few minutes to where you can find all the information. So the digital mission, thank you to the 9 companies that have decided to join. We're going to make it a great digital trip together. We're going to connect you. We're going to take that first very important step to bringing business for your companies in Colombia. So that's the goal of the digital mission. So that's also the first group that has joined this afternoon. For that group, there are 3 persons within our Holland House team, Monica Mancia, Sara Barragan, and Efraim Gonzalez. They are the 3 persons leading this project. So they are the persons that are in daily contact with you to tell you everything about your program. And they have also joined this afternoon in case of any questions that I cannot answer. So that's the first group that has joined. And the second group is, of course, another group of Curaçao-based companies that also have some kind of interest in Colombia. They want to learn, they want to get inspired. And I think what I've always said, Colombia is not only a market for big companies. If you have a very specific product or knowledge or service that is working well in the Caribbean, why shouldn't it work in Colombia? So also it's to inspire other companies that have joined this afternoon to maybe in the future take the step to see that, to hear from the 3 or 4 companies that are going to share their practical experiences, that they have actually been able to do it. I think something quite central in their story this afternoon is probably, but we will see, it's probably going to be that it's not always easy to enter and become successful in Colombia, but it's worth it. It's rewarding because the market, the size, the market potential is enormous. So maybe not easy, maybe not always straightforward, but rewarding, and it's worth it. That's probably going to be their message, and hopefully other companies will also see and get inspired by that message. If it was easy, many more would have done it. So the group that has joined today, hopefully you're willing to make the effort together with us after this webinar. This is actually the introduction I wanted to give this afternoon. Thank you to the Curaçao Chamber of Commerce. Thank you to the Ministry of Economic Development for including this event also in the Export Week agenda. And I very much look forward to hear Peter, Kurt, Bert, and possibly also Edward of Aeon to hear you about what you have done, how you have done it, what you have learned, and hopefully your knowledge will be the knowledge for the next generation of companies taking the step.
Thank you, Jan-Willem, for the introduction. We will continue with Peter. Peter, you can share your screen and start.
Let me see if I can share my screen.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yes, you can stop this one.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second.
𝗕𝗂𝘀𝗶 is of PRGV 100% Create. He is already doing business with Colombia, and he will share his experience with us in just a minute.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝘶. Thanks for the introduction, Jan-Willem and Eliane. We are a graphic design agency and ad agency established in Curaçao since 2002. We're with some facts of us. We are with 5 persons full-time right now, and we have a vast network of freelancers. We're very proud on our great clients that we have. Here's a little scope of it. And what do we do for those clients? We do branding, marketing, strategy, graphic design, campaigns, web design, online marketing, social media, media buying, project management, and PR. So it's a lot. We don't do it with the 5 of us, but especially we're like project managers and designers, and work with a lot of people to establish everything for our clients. I would love to talk some more about Colombia, of course, today. Colombia. Since 2014, I'm visiting it with my family, and we really fell in love of the country. It's so different from Curaçao, but it has the warmth which we have in Curaçao as well. The nature is incredible, and what I really like is that the cities can be like world cities, but if you're in the rural country, it's like yeah, all about nature and agricultural and incredible sites. Since 2018, I'm been working on different projects in Colombia in collaboration with agencies in Colombia and the Netherlands, especially because the love of Colombia, but also because there's a lot of opportunities there. Instantly, we became partner of the Holland House Colombia, got introduced by Jan-Willem, and he helps us a lot in reaching our goals. We also have a collaboration with Colombian agencies. Why? Because we are building a network of Colombian suppliers, for instance, for ourselves, for web design, animation, online marketing, and translation services. But we also are serving clients who are looking for local knowledge of the Colombian market, or vice versa. And so sometimes we're even a middleman for companies from Europe, because we're really near Colombia, and because of our connection with the Holland House. As I already said, I'm very happy with the Holland House, because when you're in Bogota, you have a great place to work and to network. It's centrally located, especially they're available to assisting you in finding the right match. That's of course the speech Jan-Willem just told us, and he keeps us up to date with all the important issues. For instance, the COVID, the traveling restrictions, but also for now the issues that are now at hand. What did we learn? As I already mentioned, it's a great country with a lot of contrasts, especially from the cities, but also the knowledge of the people. There are great possibilities for collaborations. People are really willing to learn from you, but also are open so we can learn from them. And as already said, there are great people to work for and to learn from. I'm racing through my presentation. What tips did I learn? You have to meet in person. Right now, we only have to meet virtually, but it helps a lot to be in Colombia and to speak with the people and to work together on their workplace, or they come to Curacao and work with us. You have to take time to know the people in the market. For instance, my mind was almost blown about how I experienced Bogota for the first time to work there. We had meetings in small cars in traffic for hours just to cover a range of 12, 15 kilometers. But the traffic is really stuck, and the people take advantage of it to just have the meeting in the car. So while we are driving from one client to the other to a supplier, we just kept on working. And we're really, how do you call it, spoiled here in Curacao with almost no traffic. So there was a big difference. And you have to show interest in Colombia. So also what I said before, you have to take time to know it. And you have to be proactive and genuine. It's not about being out of sight, but you have to maintain the relationship with the people to see how they're doing, if you can help, but also vice versa. Some don'ts for the entrepreneurs: don't push your product and think everything will go by itself. You have to be open for how they work on certain things and find the best way to do it together. And a big don't is insult Colombia. Not by my own experience, but sometimes I hear people speaking about, for instance, if you talk about Medellin, Escobar comes to the table a lot, better not do it, because they're not proud on that. They're not proud on certain parts of the history, and better avoid it. That was in a short presentation about what I did. I'm open for the Q&A afterwards, but this was my short presentation, and I give it back to Eliane.
Thank you, Peter. So if everyone or anyone in the or of the participants who are interested in this market, and you do have questions on marketing sector, creative sector, you can ask it directly to Peter. We will continue with, thank you, Peter, for your presentation. We will continue with 𝗗𝗃 of IBIS Management.
Good day, everyone. I hope you can hear me. My name is 𝗗𝗃, and on behalf of the sales and marketing team here at IBIS Management, I would like to share with you today our experience working with Colombia through the Holland House. Okay. Yeah, so IBIS Management Associates, based in Curaçao, is a made-to-measure fintech agency. As you can see on the map, we have managed to establish a large footprint over the Caribbean over the last 20 years. We are also one of the founding members of 𝗖𝗵𝘋, which is the Curaçao Tech Export Association. And one of our biggest, or let's say our values, is that we aim to maximize the operational excellence of businesses to transform their resources to become profitably efficient, which is what we have done for all of these clients here in the Caribbean. We supply financial institutions, corporate enterprises, and public organizations with solutions such as cross-border payments platforms, secure access and identity protection services. We also provide cloud hosting and storage services, and we also build essential mobile applications. So the question that everyone is asking, why Colombia? But to answer that question, I would have to give you a more, let's say, some perspective on our company. So the product that we are focusing on is called the Swiss route Ripple Net Adapter, which is a platform that leverages or gives a bank the leverage to have both Swift and Ripple on one platform to conduct cross-border payments. As you can see from Swift, Swift is a global standard for these type of transactions. It goes very linear from one bank to another, while the Ripple solution is more based on blockchain, which is an open network where banks can connect to each other more directly. This product also gives them the ability to send and receive faster payments, so a faster transaction, which is great for everyone, even their customers. It gives you the advantage to lower your cost for each transaction, and also the ability to grow your banking reach. One of the largest, or let's say most important benefits, it gives you the ability to connect directly with a correspondent bank. At the moment, this is one of the challenges that these banks are experiencing, because over the past many years, they have lost their US dollar correspondent banks overseas, that which allows them to connect their bank to the global market. It has become increasingly more difficult for them to do this, and this is one of the many opportunities that our product can help their business. So it would seem like an easy sell, like a lot of people would guess, but it really isn't. The reason why is the greatest barrier that we have to go through, or we have to experience when we go into a new country or even a new company, is that we have to go through the trust barrier. The trust barrier is very high. It's very difficult to get through because, again, you're dealing with money, you're dealing with the company's money, but also the people's money. So there's a lot of risk in this process. Also, something to keep in mind, the infrastructure that we provide, it affects or has a great influence on the entire company. For both the customers and also the company themselves. You can think like shareholders, stakeholders, etc. All of these people have an influence, or our product has an influence when the bank would acquire one of these products. For that reason, many of these banks have most reason than most to be very cautious, sometimes reluctant to do business with companies like ours, because we are overseas, we are smaller, we are not really that known in their market. So it's something that we have to understand, and it's not something to let you down, but it is a process to go through that trust barrier. So now that we know that the Colombian banks, they hold a large market share in the region. Together with Panama, I think they have the majority share in the region. And they also have ties to countries outside of our region, such as the US and Europe. So all of this is what actually the reason why we decided to make Colombia a strategic choice, to make a campaign to initiate a market entry process. So the next part is, how did we get in, or how did we try to get in at least? Usually we have a conventional process where we go personal, we fly, we have consultants that travel all over the Caribbean and the Latin American countries. They go from island to island, country to country, and they introduce themselves directly to these banks. And sometimes it works, sometimes it takes a longer time to get these appointments, but that is the conventional process that we used to do. Unfortunately, when we started this process, both Colombia and Curaçao was in lockdown, and we had to start thinking about different ways that we can approach these businesses. So we decided to start getting in touch with our allies. So we have associations, we have foundations, and also superintendents groups that have a good network of these financial institutions. But because of the lockdown, of course, no one was really prepared to work from home. So that was also a challenge, dealing with that for a few months, getting everyone ready to connect with outsiders. And everyone was a bit panicked. They didn't want to talk about new business and these type of things. So it was a challenge. One alternative that we had is sending direct emails, which actually did work a little bit when we send them directly to the representative of the bank, or let's say the executive in the bank. And afterwards, we also contact many local businesses to see how they could support us or give us advice, such as advertising companies, newspapers, magazines, TV stations, all of these companies that know the market, and they have an experience at that moment what is working and what isn't, right? But all of this took a long while, and over the period of a few months, it was the results were slim, to say the least, unfortunately. So that was the first approach. The second approach that we did, we decided to stop with the first approach, start deliberating, start talking, and see what we can do differently. And then we decided to, approach our local Chamber of Commerce here in Curaçao. And Stephen Amiano from the Chamber introduced me to Jan Willem from Holland House Colombia. And that's when we started the whole process. They explained the concept of Holland House Colombia. And we had an initial meeting. We went through all of our processes as a company. And we placed together let's say a profile of the type of clientele that we look for. We look for C-level executives like the CEO, the COO, the CFO, board directors, these types of people, which you can imagine is quite challenging to get to them, because these are not regular people you can just message on Facebook and get in touch with them. So then we went through the process of handover of possible prospect, which Holland House did quite great. And then we started planning these sessions. And I would say from that moment on, we started seeing results on the same week. Actually, I remember in the same week after we signed the agreement, we already had a meeting for the following, I believe it was on a Friday or something like that. So it works. So let's go to the takeaways on my end. If you don't have a local presence, in this instance, we don't have like a department or anything like that. We're strictly based or exclusively based in Curaçao. It will limit your chances to break through the barrier, like I mentioned. It is a good idea for any business, any concept, to really do the research. Not only do the research to see if their product or service has a chance in the market, but research the people, research the culture, research the thinking, research everything to get a feel of what works and what really doesn't, how they think, etc. Next thing I would really recommend is prepare a defense against local competitors. Colombia is a very patriotic country, as many of countries are. So they really incentivize their locals to do everything. And it will become a question that they will not ask you directly, why should you be allowed in? But it is something that you have to keep in mind when you're at the table. Have a good defense why your product or your service should be evaluated for purchase, let's say. The next one, I would say, have collateral like flyers, brochures, presentation, anything that you can give. Have these at hand in English and both Spanish. Every time we do these presentations, we give them either whichever one they request, so whether it's English or Spanish. Another thing I would say, send direct emails. Do not make use of an info@yourcompany.com. We've done that in the beginning, and it really doesn't work, because a lot of, or at least in our experience, a lot of these banks have a filtering system. So when you send something as an info or as a marketing ad or sales ad, these types of emails get filtered out and they get pushed away in the junk or some other folder where the person will never see it. So always try to use a personalized email, such as your name @company.com. Yes. Something else I would say, create dedicated content. In our case, we had a Facebook and LinkedIn account created specifically for the Latin American country. But unfortunately, because our market is so very slim, it's very, very small, After a few months, we discontinued that channel. But for many other businesses, this could be a great idea, a great pathway to connect with them directly or more engaging, let's say. And lastly, I would say if you have the opportunity to have a representative that is a native, either a Colombian, a Venezuelan, or any Latin American country, it would help you a lot. One of my colleagues is from Venezuela, if I'm not mistaken, and he is actually our liaison with the Holland House. And he is the one that connects with Holland House. He's the one that goes to these virtual meetings. And it works a lot better because there's a camaraderie that they can share, etc. So if you can do that, if you have that convenience or advantage, really make use of that. Yes. So for me to close off, I have something that I would like to say, and allow me to read this word for word. Getting a new bank as a client is challenging, if not rare, but it's an immense honor. It's definitely an occasion worthy of celebration because it's a long-term deposit of trust, reliance, and loyalty. Considering the limitations of the pandemic and the challenges it has brought, I would regard Holland House Colombia as an essential strategic partner in our sales efforts and a great alternative for local representation and support. My team and I, we look forward to toasting our first Colombian client together with the Holland House in the near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kurt, for your part. So everyone in the sector operation, consulting, advisory services, you do have questions, ask away, ask Mr. Kurt Richardson. We will continue with Mr. Bert Schroeders. And one tip that Kurt shared with us is do your research. So contact Holland House, ask them. They will give you all the information that you need and make use of Holland House to enter this specific market. So we will continue with Mr. Bert Schroeders.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Iliana, for your introduction. Thank you for this opportunity to put C3 in the window. C3, Critical Communication Caribbean. Let's see the next one. We are 90 years expert in mission critical communication solutions in the Caribbean. We are located over, let's say, 6 countries nowadays: Aruba, Sint Maarten, Bonaire, all separate country. Aruba, I'm myself sitting in Aruba today, tomorrow in Curaçao again, and in 2017 we decided to go to Colombia. We are a company known maybe to the people in Curaçao known as Zenitel, and before that we were Radio Holland. We represent a lot of A brands like Motorola, Zenitel itself, Airbus, Iridium, etc. We thought it was but we have here we go a bit more into details. What we do, we are represented in many sectors, and for that the logical step was to go to Colombia. Some of our brands, some of our partners, Motorola, as you can see, Tastam, Mototurbo, Hanwha. Well, go have a look over here, and then some of the products we have, and you see it's all security-based products. Our tagline is when your safety depends on communication. And since people are very security conscious in Colombia, the next logical step was to go to Colombia. Now here's some more. In 2017, we started as a branch office in Holland House, like everybody starts from Colombia from Curaçao in Colombia. You start at the Holland House. I have seen some people. They tried to do it on their own, and they have actually failed. You cannot start one-in-one what you're doing in Curaçao, duplicate it and do that in Colombia. That does not work. Me as a director and my former product manager, we thought that we could do that together from Curaçao, start a new business in Colombia. And we said, you know, like you go every month, I go, you go every other month, and then we will make our first million within a year. Well, that doesn't work like that. Like the speaker said before, you need local people, you need a local presence, you need to meet the people in person. Over the phone, Zoom really doesn't work. They need to see you. So in 2018, we hired our first local sales person, and then we would come, let's say, when the sales, in the sales process, we would join, let's say once a month or once in the 2 months, we would join how big the project was, dependent on how big the project was, and then we would join him. We started as a branch office because we also saw from other companies that starting as a startup with a registered company in Colombia is a lot of administrative work. We said, okay, that's not what we want. I think if you have a small company with 2 persons, you need another administrative person to do your administration. And I think it was the advice of Holland House who said, well, you know, why don't you just start as a branch? Curaçao, the headquarters is in Curaçao, and you have a branch in Colombia. And so far, so good. It works fine. We don't have the administrative problems. The other thing we did, we work with local partners. So we said in the end, you know, like going direct to end customers is not really the thing to do. We don't have the network. It takes time to build that network. Why don't we invest in partners and share the margin we want to make as distributor of critical communication devices? So we were looking then, we said with Jan Willem, said, okay, give me a range of companies we want to use as partners. There were integrators, some distributors of other brands. And so we went on the road and met the companies. And like, I think it was Peter who said it, you know, like, it's not meeting once, it's meeting once, twice, 3 times. Having lunch somewhere, and then finally, when you're going to have are being invited for the barbecue at the finca on a Sunday, you know the deal is done. So now we have a solid network of, let's say, 12 partners. We act as distributors. We have a sales person who does the work for them, but the work, integration, importation, things like that, we leave that to the partners. We moved then to WeWork in 2019. Holland House, we had a good time there, but as you can see on the picture there, we had a lot of boxes, we had a lot of equipment. We also hired a second person, an engineer. So we were expanding and we moved to WeWork in Calle 93. Close to the Holland House though, and it's a nice office with a nice view, as you can see. We also started with that second person to expand our business into South and Central America. We had a failed attempt to go to Panama in 2018, but now the people in Colombia are taking care of clients outside of Colombia as well. As you can see, 2019 revenues 100% over 2018, and in 2020 again 100% growth. So in 3 years we're doing business. We see our business growing year after year. Although 2021 didn't start that good, because I think of the social unrest, but also COVID. 2020 we were, let's say, piggybacking on all the funnel we made in 2018, 2019. Sales cycles are long, where we maybe are used here to 60 days before we can close a deal. In Colombia, it's easy, 120 days, and you have to come back, and you have to come back, and you have to come back again. And but very professional, you know, like you will have requirements, very valid requirements. They know what they're talking about. They're very professional, and it's nice doing business with them. They like doing business with us. They trust European, Caribbean companies. You know, like we are a Caribbean company, and we have some roots in the Netherlands as well, and they like that. It's an trust. I think that word was being mentioned before as well by my other presenters. They need to trust you. So partnership starts with trust. Here are some solutions we provide in the market. So we are the main distributor of Zenitel, which is industrial intercoms and PA systems. So we do nothing for the individual market. It's pure business to business, and everything through our partners. And we made a vow, you know, like, because they think they're smart. Some of the customers, they come behind the back of the partners. They say, you know what, cut out the partner, I want a better deal, blah, blah, blah. But we stick to the plan, you know, like we made that mistake actually once. Jan Willem knows what I'm talking about with the APM. And that went totally wrong. So we always go to our partners, and it's for them. At first they didn't believe us, you know, like, okay, you come to us, you give us business, and you give us margin. Why, you know, like no. And then the story is, you know, we as a foreign company, we don't have the network, we don't have the daily contact with your end customers, and we don't mind sharing the margin. You know, like the margin we started was 0, so everything we gain from that point was gained. So at first they were very you know, like they couldn't believe it, you know, like, so we're okay, nice guys there, you know, they come, they want to do business with us, and they give us half of their profits. Yes, local engineer. You see a lot of European or American companies in Colombia. They are present, but they don't have the local presence like we do. We have a local engineer and we have a local sales person. So instead of calling to Europe, calling to the States, they have the support locally. We do training locally. Two guys, one girl, one guy from Bogota. It's all local, you know, like they build the relationships, and now we are only coming once in a while, you know, like when we need to go to that barbecue in the Finca to sign the deal, then we show up, and we go to ferias, we go to the infrastructure, which is a very important niche of a market for us. It is very niche, but the infrastructure is enormous investments being done, billions of dollars being invested in infrastructure in Colombia, and we try to pick a small piece of the pie, and so far so good. Why Holland House? It has a great reputation. It's linked to the embassy of the Netherlands. You know, like if they tell their Holland House and the meeting is in the Holland House, people will show up. You know, like it has a great reputation. People like to see at least what's going on. You know, like so it's very good. They have a very good juridical knowledge. They can help you with all kinds of legal questions, how to do business, what to set up, to go to a notary, to go to a lawyer, you know, like business contacts, say no more, you know, like they by now, I think Jan Willem knows about everybody in Colombia and everybody knows him. Now it's really great, you know, like I want somebody, oh, I think I know, I met somebody few years ago, let me check. Yes, okay, there you have it. The Holland House centrally located in a safe neighborhood and very friendly staff. You know, like I'm still on an Instagram or WhatsApp basis with some of them. I think they don't work there anymore, but it's very nice people, friends for life. I think we made there. Yeah, I think it's a great place to start your business, and that's it for now. So, have any questions? Let me know. I can vouch for Holland House and Jan Willem and his staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Bert, for your information, your experiences. And if you are interested in the communication sector, security products, ask Mr. Bert. He will give you all the answers. Jan Willem, I don't know if you want to add something else to this before we continue with the questions.
Thank you, Eliane. No, I think, well, first of all, thank you to Peter, to Kurt, to Bert. I think great presentations that show the potential of the Colombian market. If you mention what you have been able to achieve, also the financials Bert showed us at the end. I think that's what I meant when I said it's not always easy, but it's an attractive market. It's one of the bigger markets close to Curaçao. So thank you to the three of you for your great presentations. You were very kind about the Holland House. That's not the main objective for today, but we have been happy to support, of course. So thank you for that too. No, I think great presentations. And we were going to have a fourth speaker today, Edward van Heiningen of Aon, but he has a medical thing. So unfortunately, he has tried, but will not be able to join. So I guess in the next session where we will share other experiences of other companies, we hope Edward will join there. But for today, these were the three speakers. So let's continue with the questions, Eliane.